I stand before you as a yogi, an activist, a storyteller, and an artist. I also acknowledge on this stage that I am the descendant of kidnapped people. I am clear in my mind, grounded in my spirit, and I experience liberation on a daily basis in my body. For me, this is part of the process of decreasing the trauma that I was born with and that I've accumulated in my lifetime. And for that reason, I come to you addressing reparations. My mom was born in St. Petersburg, Florida in 1944. As one of 10 children, she had a mother who was a domestic worker and her father who worked in construction. And when she reached 18 years of age, she was the first of her siblings to migrate to New York City. And after a series of administrative jobs, she decided to give her life to teaching and became a teacher with the Board of Education of New York City. My mom was also really passionate about her health and her health pursuits. She was always keeping up to date with the latest workout video, fitness trend, or diet, whatever that was going on at the time. And she also had magazines and books strewn all over the house. And of course, I wound up reading them. She also had a very impressive collection of videos, workout videos. Before CDs and DVDs and all that, we had videos. And when I turned 14, I decided to try one of them. And I was immediately hooked. I loved the sweat, the adrenaline pump, the high. I felt like what I thought was a warrior. And after that day, I skipped doing the workouts for a couple of days, and then I noticed that my body was craving that release that came from that workout experience. That was my first introduction into the fitness, health, and wellness industry. Now, wellness is described as general health and well-being, especially when achieved as an actively pursued goal. Now, the 6 pillars of wellness are physical, intellectual, occupational, social, emotional, and spiritual. Now, when we break down wellness in this way, we can see how many of the Black citizens of this country are not set up for that added goal, when honestly, we're merely concerned with survival. Now, Black people have been experiencing trauma for over 400 years. From slavery, Jim Crow laws, and mass incarceration, to name a few. And the trauma needs to be reconciled. So currently in this country, we're having the conversation around reparations. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with the exact definition of reparations, reparations is a conversation which acknowledges that the descendants of Africans brought to this country and enslaved to build the thriving economy that we started with need to be compensated. Now, while I agree with the compensation that we're actually discussing, which is for building this country, I also feel it's appropriate for us to recognize nationally the damage that has been done to the Black citizens of this country. So, I stand before you to present my idea worth sharing, and that is the United States needs to provide a nationwide campaign to support the healing, maintain and sustain the healing of our Black communities. Now, yes, I do appreciate that compensation package, but there needs to be more than that. Citing an article from the Journal of the American Medical Association from May of 1999, patients from ethnic and racial groups receive fewer healthcare services and are dissatisfied with the patient care they receive more often than their counterparts in the majority white population. These disparities may be attributable to the racial or cultural differences between patients and their physicians. So that is the cornerstone of what I think the reparations package should be for wellness in this country. Culturally appropriate healing. That is healing of, by, and for exclusively Black people. Now, I believe in this country that we probably don't have enough Black healthcare practitioners to fill this need, so we are going to need to build that capacity. And so I've imagined a walkthrough of what that would look like. Number one, for the next 40 years, any Black person receiving a certification as a healing practitioner or a medical degree in the health profession have their tuition paid for by the government and or a special reparation tax that is applied to the $4.7 trillion global wellness industry. Number two, let's advocate. Let's all advocate for reparation health care centers that are owned and operated by Black people, but paid for and built with money from a special reparation tax or the community and the government. And to enhance the integrity of these centers, let's contract Black-only companies and organizations to build these structures. And third, yoga has changed my life in ways that I can't even explain on this stage. I've experienced so many transformational events, and for that reason, we should all be donating funds to the Black Yoga Teachers Alliance. And four, philanthropists, individuals, community members, advocate or pay the tuition for a Black healer. Now, in the book, My Grandmother's Hands by Resmaa Menakem, he looks at the landscape of trauma in the United States from the perspective of the body. The black and dark body, the white body, and the body of the law enforcement professionals. And so when we're speaking about healing the trauma, let's talk about lessening the trauma that actually happens in the Black experience in the United States. And so maybe we bring in wellness and equity protocols to our education system. Yes, so that teachers, parents, proctors, and students all are acknowledged for the amount of trauma within our school systems. Now, our school systems are already traumatic enough, let alone the experiences that our Black children are having. So my hope is that we can bring the baseline of our education system to compassion, to promoting human dignity for our children, for all of our children. Because when it comes to reparations, it's about more than paying back Black people for money that we have provided for this country. To this day, I'm still dedicated to my healing. I go after it every day because I am clear that my inner strength and balance is correlated to my inner peace, the liberation of my body, my mind, and my soul. So let's acknowledge this. Reparations is not about money. It's about accountability. It's about repair. And it's about responsibility. So I leave you this afternoon in the hopes that you can look at reparations in a more abundant way, in a way that makes us all feel better about the country that we live in.